Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Once more, taking a look at Bitcoin, our best and worst friend of all time. Okay, so what we're going to look at, of course, is the price action here. We see this fair value gap that didn't fully get filled. I was expecting the price to maybe come up as a little bit of a relief rally at 61.5 as a rough estimate. Didn't quite get that. Highest it came was 61.3. Price pulled back, and now we're looking at a potential double bottom here. Either way you look at it, we're still respecting our descending trend line, which essentially means you do not disrespect Bitcoin by trying to take a long into it. It's just kind of the common theme here, right? Longs are not necessarily an appropriate consideration at the moment. Anyways, there's a lot of things we can look at that might shift that dynamic, but since yesterday, it doesn't look like a lot has changed. And we're going to double check just some important factors here too. So I want to say thanks again to everyone who's always hitting the like button, commenting below. More importantly, just like every video. It really just helps grow the channel. We're getting slightly more views now, which is actually kind of nice because it takes maybe a couple of views away from the Moon Boys, who are seemingly getting a lot of attention because they tell you everything's going straight to the moon, like Bitcoin 100,000 in October. Come on, really? Anyways, we'll talk more about that later. What I want to discuss really quick, first of all, is just this lower end of liquidation. 60,000 is that heavy concentration. This is, again, the last 7 days of liquidation, but this has been fairly consistent. In other words, we saw a pretty heavy sweep of previous liquidation at 61.5. That should be the new resistance, by the way. And then we can also see here 60,000, strong likelihood of a retest there. It may just be another wick down to 59.8 like we saw last time, but there's a lot of liquidation there. Just keep that in mind. If you zoom out and understand, kind of where we're at here too, the macro, there's somewhere in the range of about 70 billion in liquidation between 56 and 58,000. It's kind of a ballpark there. But generally speaking, I added all this up and it's well over 70 billion. So it's quite a lot of liquidation. We lose 60,000. I think it's 57K seems like a likely target. I have limit orders set between 60 and 57K. Anytime we enter the 50K range, I'm interested in buying more Bitcoin for my spot bag. I'm not just blindly throwing darts on the chart and trying to take a long position with leverage. I'm utilizing my spot bag for that. Please understand that. Anyways, we can go over DCA targets later or even here today because I got the macro fibs pulled up here for us more so for the local low to local high, kind of just giving us perspective. Ever since we've been in this range here, I can tighten this up just a little bit. We can kind of see the price actions getting closer or close-ish to that 0.618 fib level. So if you look here, we can see right there, 57,000 is that golden pocket. It would make sense, it would be sensible for us to presume the price will come to that range. Again, we don't want to assume, because you know what that does, but we can presume, right? It's a little different. Just kidding, it's all the same, but it just feels better when you say it. So let's take a quick look at liquidation. Just quickly here, the delta, we can see about 4 billion in shorts. So shorts are still controlling the market. Keep in mind, when this starts to get over exaggerated, that's when the price will start to capitulate. So at this point, 4 billion isn't terrible as a delta. Last time we saw a reversal or a swing, it was closer to 10 or 9. So just kind of heads up on that. It's not like a big deal, but this is what's pretty obvious here to me. 61,500, the largest or second largest amount of open interest of minus 62,500. So a lot of folks like to buy in at 61.5. Those are likely some longs that are in the red right now. Either way, let's take a look at the daily and kind of see where we're at and double check some things here. While I'm pulling this up, I want to say quick congrats to our community here. Really cool little trades here. We got some nice profits here from Bitcoin. Of course, that is a short from 62,300. And then, of course, we got Aptos as well, firing all cylinders there. It's a nice short we took 4 days ago. So cool stuff there. Let's go ahead and double check the important things here, which to me is, well, actually, it's a lot of different things. It's not just one thing. But the key takeaway here is so far, it looks like we're on target to potentially close below the 50-day SMA. And a lot of folks were asking me, like recently, I think earlier in the week or late last week, saying, hey, 50-day SMA has been holding like a champ. Should we expect it to do the same thing moving forward? Short answer is yes, but also no. Like a lot of folks are taking longs right now because they feel like 60,000 is just going to hold because it held before. While double bottoms do exist, and they have a moderately high success rate, everything else is screaming bearish divergence. So it just doesn't make a ton of sense to take a long into a terrible situation. So me personally, I don't think that a long is viable at this point. I really just think it's irresponsible. But again, everyone has different viewpoints on that, and I totally understand it. There's probably some people using Elliott wave only and saying that it's going to go to 30,000 or 90,000. That seems very much what you want to hear. So just be careful again with that. Unfortunately, those are some really, it's just mind-boggling that that's actually very successful. More so from the perspective of people viewing it, not necessarily more so the actual success rate. Anyways, conversation for another day. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, don't do yourself a disservice and only use one thing. There's a lot of things that factor in. So the 50-day SMA, while we're losing it and we're potentially going to close below it, that's not the end of the world, but it's a contributing factor letting us know that we have more potential propensity for further downside. We have almost nothing telling us there's a reason to take a long position. We're under 50 on the RSI. Money flow index, as I mentioned before, below the RSI, implying we have a lot more selling pressure than what is conceived to be a good value. So people are still buying even though the price is going down. Just doesn't make a ton of sense. Stochastics swinging down, MACD's diverging, trend strength index super low. We've got 9 out of 10 reasons to not take a long. Taking a look here at 4-hour time frame, same scenario. We're below every single moving average. The 200-day SMA is rejecting the price action here. Keep in mind that's not the only reason for it. There's a lot of other contributing factors, but that's an easy explanation of what's going on here. Okay. So again, below all moving averages really just implies that we're not on the right side of the trend here. So if you're trying to take a long, again, it's very foolhardy to take a long at this point because we haven't even broken our short-term trend line. We we haven't even retested that key level support at 60,000 and successfully have held it so far. The price is just kind of wavering there. I know it seems weird. It's like, why not take a long right now when this could be the bottom? It may not be the bottom. That's the problem. So folks, you got to realize it's kind of like dropping money in a toilet and hitting the flush button and then just kind of watching it go away. It doesn't make a ton of sense to do that. You're going to have a lot more success not trading to the upside right now. Again, I'm sure I'm going to eat my words here in a couple of days, and all the bears that have been screaming that the bulls have been screaming the price is going to be going up for the last week are going to be successful at some point. Is that natural, response, right? It happens all the time. You give it enough time, everyone's going to be right. But at this point, there's no reason to try to argue that because nothing is really showing it's going to happen. Anyways, RSI is getting lower. As we get closer to 30, keep in mind we have more potential for a bounce, which we kind of already saw. I mean, I talked yesterday about hitting 30 on the RSI and then 20 on the money flow index. We typically see a relief rally. What do you know, folks? We saw the price action respond positively for a short while. See, trapping some late longs probably, but it was only 1.5% move in about a 12-hour period. So that doesn't really give me a big vote of confidence. What would give me a vote of confidence is to have the price action somewhere over here, at the very least, above that descending trend line and establishing higher highs and higher lows. We don't have that yet, so it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I'm sorry if I'm getting overly passionate about reaffirming the bearish nature of the coin right now, but it's for your own good, and unfortunately a lot of folks will fast forward to the end of my videos or just in general kind of argue in the comments because they disagree with my analysis, which is perfectly fine, by the way. It's just that it's upsetting to know that they're usually the ones that are just totally amateur or they're just not willing to put in the time. Okay, so again, I'm thankful for you watching all the way through, so you can do yourself a service of potentially being a responsible trader. And at this point, again, very little signs telling us there's a shift in momentum. Hourly time frame is usually good about telling us that changes, right? And if we look here, lagging span still free and clear. So we got another 6 to 12 hours roughly of this divergence here. And if the price action doesn't break below this key level support in the next 6 to 12 hours, that really just tells us we want to close our short position. Again, that's a consideration. We're still below the cloud, working down our way down. Conversion lines below the baseline. There's, again, nothing here. Really, we found one consolation in the entire analysis that the price could go up. Do you really want to trade into that? Does that make any sense to you? I don't know. Again, if you are the kind of person that just you can't live without trading, and you're going to force a trade right now, I would say short. Take a short. Okay, there's no other way around it. It's probably best to do that. And it's weird to take a short at the bottom. I know it feels strange. But the more you test a support level like this, like we've seen multiple times in the past, the more likely it is to drop. I personally think that we're going to lose this support here because our local point of control is generally above the price action. And we have a lot of resistance at 62,000, 61.5, that local high, the fair value gap could get filled. If it does, I'd be happy because we could short at a higher rate or higher price. Again, a lot of reasons not to take a trade right now. So I guess that's the consensus. When we look at macro, though, just to give you some clarification on this local, this range, essentially, 57,000 does seem probable for either a bounce or a pullback to that level. So again, we lose 60K. I think 57 to 58K is very, very logical. A lot of that is, under the impression that this liquidation is going to be swept. Market makers are very, very good about lulling you into this sense of security and taking a long position at the support and then just going to destroy your account. So be careful doing that. Again, it's just a statistical likelihood the price action is going to go down. It's not a guarantee. Okay. But I don't know. I prefer to invest in things that have a stronger return on investment and a stronger probability. Okay, that's what all this is. Analysis is exactly that, just understanding your odds of success and going in the direction of the trend is heading. Okay, the trend is down right now. There's no other way around it. Okay, cool. I hope I brought that home, drove that home. Again, thanks again so much for watching. Obviously, ensure that you check out Bitunix, link down below. They got an awesome deposit reward bonus right now. Easy to use, phenomenal exchange, no KYC or VPN required. And then of course you want to become part of our community. We got a lot of new members coming over. I highly recommend you read through my signals guide, make sure you understand how my signals work, my trades that I share. And then of course my university too, you got to read through that or watch those videos. It's not super long, but it's a really good foundation of understanding how to be a better trader. It's a little more in depth than what I cover here. So check it out if you haven't already. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks for your time. We'll see you soon.